So how do most violin shops find instruments and accessories for their shops? How do they find them for their customers? Well, today I thought, I would do a little behind the scenes video and show you how I find instruments and accessories for my customers. Now, I recently got back from a trip. I was in Italy for a couple weeks. That's why I haven't posted a video in a little while. And so I was in a big show there, and I had the opportunity to look at a lot of really cool instruments, find some new product, and meet up and meet a lot of new people. It was really, really fun. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Now, not all violin shops, travel abroad to find instruments and accessories for their customers. So the usual way of doing it in the United States for most shops is that, you will buy from a wholesaler. So the wholesaler or trading company. So these companies are much bigger than the violin shops, and they're the ones that do the sourcing. They're the ones who travel, or there's traveling salesmen that come to them to show them product, and then they buy it in large quantity. And then the violin shops, they just buy like a grade of violin or a grade of bow or whatever, or some popular accessory like a string or shoulder rest, and then they put it in a shop, and then they hope that you come there, you play it, and you like it, and you buy it. So that's usually how it usually works. Now, as a lot of you may already know, at Kennedy Violins, from day one, I have a completely different business model. So I actually purchase directly from the makers. So that's why I travel to all these different countries. And of course, there's a lot of big benefits of that. When you buy directly from the maker, of course, you pay a lot less money because, I don't have to go through a wholesaling company. So I pay a lot less, which means I can charge less. So that's why it's a lot easier for me to, offer a lot higher quality for, particular price point. But the other benefit is that I'm able to form relationships with the makers. So they know what I want. I can tell them what kind of violin that I want. Do I want a Strad design or Guarneri design? They can customize the neck, how wide it is, how deep it is, which affects, how it plays, the kind of varnish, how the varnish is applied, the color of the varnish, even down to like the shape of the F-holes and the kind of edging that's done. So there's a lot of customization that you can do, so if you know what you want, it's a lot easier to do if you have a relationship with the maker. Now, there's a bunch of shows all around the world. There's the one, of course, in Italy that I just got back from. It's in Cremona. And Cremona, of course, is a really famous, city in Italy. Stradivarius, right? He made instruments there. And then there's a couple of big shows in China. There's one in Beijing. There's one in Shanghai. There's another one in Germany, in Frankfurt, I think Hong Kong. There's two big ones in the US. And there's one in LA. In fact, there's one coming up in January. So I've been to, most of these shows, and these shows are really cool because you get to play on a lot of amazing instruments, and you get to find new product because people are always inventing and coming out with a new way to do stuff. And you get to meet with old makers, people you've been working with for a while and kind of, keep up that relationship. But you also get to meet new people, and you get to learn a lot of really cool stuff, and you get to find out, find about new product, and you find out there's a lot of really passionate people who are really passionate about their particular product. It could be a bow or a shoulder rest or their instrument or whatever it is, and you get to talk to them and find out, what went into, the creation of whatever it is that they make. So this particular fellow, he is like the lead engineer for Arcos, and I'd heard of the company, but I didn't know much about them. I hadn't really played the Bose, but I happened to go into his booth, and I really liked this guy. I mean, he's experimenting with hybrid carbon fiber instruments. He engineered his own custom scroll with like gears in it. He gave me a lot of detailed information about how they manufacture their carbon fiber bows and why they're different from their competitors. And I got to play the bows and talk to him about how much hair they put in, why they put the kind of a hair in, and I learned a lot of things, and I have a lot of respect for this company now. In fact, now we're going to start selling these bows. So, as a result of meeting this fellow here, now I'm going to offer, another really high quality product that I think you guys are going to really like. Here's another example. This particular fellow, he came up with his own chin rest design, because It's kind of it's been a problem for a long time, you know, people who have longer necks, you know, being able to support their instruments. So he came up with a unique design for people who have longer necks for the chin rest. And this chin rest, it bridges the gap very nicely for people who have long necks, but it's also highly adjustable. And I'd never seen this product before. And he also makes these really cool shoulder rests, and he's also got some hybrid instruments with some carbon fiber tops or backs, I mean. And anyway, really cool guy, really passionate about his product, and as a result, you know, I'm going to start offering his chin rest to my customers. So another great benefit to going to the show. Now, at this particular show, I usually look for high-end instruments. So I tested a lot of different bows, trying to find some really nice wood bows for my customers. So I found some really great wood bows. I found some independent bow makers. This German fellow, in fact, I bought an older Roth bow, and there was another lady, I think, from Slovakia, I think. But I found a lot of independent bow makers, and I also found another fellow who represents a whole bunch of Brazilian makers. And we already source bows at our local shop in Washington from two prominent Brazilian, you know, they represent a lot of different Brazilian makers. And anyhow, I met another guy, and so he's actually coming by our store in about, well, I don't know, a couple of weeks, and we're going to be buying some bows from him. But it's a great contact. So I found some, like I say, I found some great bows, and I found some great instruments. I already source about maybe 6 or 7 makers, usually from this show, and I found another fellow that I'll probably be sourcing some instruments from him. So yeah, it was a really great experience. And you know, you get to walk around and just play on all these different instruments, which is, you know, it's really fun. It's very enjoyable. Another really cool thing about the show is that there's a lot of people who are there testing stuff, and there's some great players there. I mean, there are people who are just, you know, whipping through, you know, the Sensons, Vinyavsky, Tchaikovsky, Sibelius, Paganini. I mean, they're just, you know, playing the stuff, and because they're not just shop people, they're you know, professional players or really good students, and they're looking for their next great instrument or whatever. So you hear amazing players. Here's this little guy right here. He had a little crowd around him. He was playing I think it's a Hungarian dance on electric violin, and people were pretty entertained by that. You can't hear very well in this video, but it was pretty cool. And then after the show, there's a lot of performances. There was a really good rock band there. Anyhow, the dude was really great, and it was a cool show. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I could go on and on and on. I could show you all kinds of video, all kinds of pictures. I could tell you a million stories, but I just thought I'd share a little bit. And hey, if you have any questions about it or any comments or whatever, hey, just ask me. You know, I answer most of the DMs I get and all the comments and stuff like that. And next week I'll be going back to creating some of the usual content, you know, some of the how-to stuff. And if there's any video you guys have in mind, just let me know, put it in the comments, and you know, more than likely, if I know how to do it, I will. I'll put it on the to-do list, and I'll make that video. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and see you next week, and happy practicing.